good, people? Thanks for watching The Sweat. Welcome to the friendly, cozy confines of our DraftKings podcast studio. That's Jessie, Coffield to my left. To her right, Emerson, Lotzia. We're going to be with you for the next 60 minutes, which is also an hour. Yeah, tons of fantasy and betting advice, talking golf, NBA draft odds, but we're going to get this party started on the diamond with 3 DK Live dudes. We got Steve Buchanan, Julian Edlow, and James McCool. All right, guys, Chase your fade ahead of tonight's 10-game slate, so listen closely. The Blue Jays, the Rangers, they're the only 2 home underdogs on the slate. So what I want you to do right now is chase your fade that Texas is a better option if you're looking for a dog to back. Let's start with you, Jules.
Yeah, I'll chase that. I mean, looking at the Blue Jays, just statistically, the Blue Jays are plus 175 here, whereas the Rangers are practically in a pick-em. They're only plus 102 right now. So we've got an Angels offense that's been doing pretty well in Toronto. Toronto's offense ranks just 27th in the season. Andrew Heaney's not a bad pitcher, even though he's only pitched 4 games this season. The game in Texas, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's ugly. A couple of bad pitchers. But that said, I like the way that the Rangers have been scoring at home. They've been one of the best home offenses all season, and I don't think they'll have too much of a problem overcoming Adam Plutko, however you say his name. So I'll take the Rangers here at close to even odds.
All right, Mac Attack. Chase your fade, better option here if you're looking for an underdog. That's going to be Texas against Cleveland. Mac Attack, that's you, McCool. James McCool.
I was going to say Mac Attack.
He's just decided that's
guys,
your
I
name.
I give everyone nicknames here. Steve is Chinchilla. Julian is that guy.
All right, so MacTech says that, I'll back the Rangers, man. I mean, Adam Plutko is not very good. He's had some good starts this season, but he's somebody who's exceptionally home run prone. He does have a 3.68 home run per 9 over the last month, and I have him adjusted only slightly lower than that and still has the highest home run liability on the slate. So even though I don't necessarily respect the Rangers' offense that much, they only have a 369 slugging percentage in this handedness and striking out 46% of the time with 2 strikes on the board. Like, I don't think that they're really that good of an offense. And honestly, I prefer the Blue Jays offense in terms of upside on this slate. But if we're looking at these 2 teams, I don't really think that the Indians are that good. And I think that Adam Plutko is pretty bad. So yeah, like Jason said, it's pretty much a pick-em there, so I don't mind going back in the Rangers here.
Well, Jason is also a good nickname for Julian. I'll agree. That's a little safer for work, I guess.
We're going to start going with Jason.
That's true.
All right. Let's see what Bucks has to say.
Okay, go ahead. Jason just teed you up there, Steve.
I love that James is just a butcher of names, and now all these nicknames are just coming from what McCool said. Let me tell you something. These guys are foolish. I will take the Rangers 10 times out of 10 on this. And, we'll talk about why the Blue Jays are not in a good spot on Put Up Your Pukes later, which is the best segment on this show. But until then, look, the Blue Jays are just plain bad against lefties. Andrew Heaney's going on the mound tonight. You look at that Blue Jays lineup and what they have running out there tonight. It is absolutely atrocious against lefties. So I will definitely take the Rangers here. I don't think the Blue Jays are going to muster much on offense. So by far, it's the Rangers. I don't care what the odds are. Julian wasn't prepared for this segment. Couldn't even say the guy's name.
We both just took the Rangers, and then you come out here arguing with us about the Rangers.
I just got confused with Julian or Jason. That's all.
You're arguing with yourself. You agreed with both of us. Come out, guns blazing, Steve Buchanan. Hey, I agree with both of you.
He agreed with both of us. Are you referring to Julian and Jason, or are you referring? I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Okay. Let's move on before a fight breaks out. James, the Giants and Dodgers have the lowest total on the slate. It's set at 7.5 with Drew Pomeranz taking on Rich Hill. Now, Pomeranz has not allowed a run in June. Chaser fade, this is the night that the wheels come off for Pomeranz and this game hits the over.
Yeah, I'll take the over on this spot. I mean, I really respect Rich Hill as a pitcher, and the Giants' offense isn't good. They have the second lowest slugging percentage on this slate, and Rich Hill obviously has been fantastic. The Dodgers' bullpen has been way, way better over the last month after having an atrocious start to 2019. But on the other side of this, Pomeranz has been good. Definitely, he's been good, but the Dodgers are kind of on another level. And any time that we can take this kind of low total up against a pitcher that I think is kind of being a little bit more valued by the public than he should, I'll definitely chase the over on it. I think that the Dodgers themselves can put up 5, maybe 6 runs and maybe a home run or 2 off Rich Hill, and we can get the over.
Steve, what do you want to do here?
Yeah, kind of like what, I don't know, what's your name? Mike, whatever he just said. I mean, this is just, I just can't fathom Drew Pomeranz pitching well for a long period of time. Like, I get that he's pitched well over these past 2 games in June, and one of those games was against the Dodgers, or one of the teams he was facing. But truly, like, the Dodgers offense is just too good in this spot here. And, like, I don't know if I want to say it can hit the over. It's going to come close, just from what the Dodgers could potentially do against Drew Pomeranz. But Rich Hill's been pitching really well. He's somebody that I never like taking because I've always had bad luck with him, but you got to give respect where it's due, and he's been pitching extremely, extremely well, and this Giants offense is really nothing when you really look at them from top to bottom. So I think it's still going to go under. I think it's going to be really close. I wouldn't be surprised by 6 runs here, but I think still thinks it stays under.
Jules and Jason, where are you going on this one?
Yeah, I'll take an over. Any 7.5 over at Dodger Stadium, that seems fine to me. Rich Hill faced this Giants lineup at AT&T Stadium, more of a pitcher's park earlier this season. It was a 7-2 final, so 9 runs there. We've got Drew Pomeranz, whose road ERA is creeping up towards a 9. It just seems like a spot. The Dodgers average 5.5 runs at home. I think this game can get over 7.5, find its way to 8 runs, even with Rich Hill on the mound. But I will say I think the better bet is just targeting the Dodgers offense here and going with the over on the Dodgers team total at home.
Steven, after hitting 4 home runs in a 3-game stretch, JD Martinez has cooled off here, been a little quiet the last 3 games, but plus 475 to homer tonight against Kyle Gibson and the Twins. And for the Sox to win, this game went to 17, 18 innings last night between these two. Didn't end until like 2:30 in the morning. We were all asleep. Chase or fade, though, JD comes through, leads the Sox to a dub with a big old fat ding-dong.
Yeah, I don't like this bet at all. I mean, Kyle Gibson has just been good. I mean, there's no way around. He's given up 11 home runs already, but only 4 of them have been to right-handed bats, only 2 total at home. And he's generating a ton of ground balls, almost 50% on the year. I just don't see this happening right now. The Twins are facing a lefty in Eduardo Rodriguez. Obviously, that's not something that you're looking forward to because the Twins, as I always keep saying, are just absolute monsters when it comes to facing left-handed pitching. So I don't like this bet at all. I think they're going to leave these starting pitchers out there a little bit longer than they would like to because of that prolonged game last night. So that might be even worse news for Eduardo Rodriguez. But yeah, I don't like this bet at all. I think the Twins win this one. And even if Martinez does get one, not feeling it at these odds.
All right, Jules. JD Martinez homers. Boston wins in Minnesota. That's plus 475. You want to chase that?
Oh, I totally disagree with Bucks here. I hate this bet. No, we're on the exact same page.
Okay.
Get it, Steve? It's because you weren't listening in the top
Just
of the show.
answer the question.
No, JD Martinez is ice cold. This dude went 0 for 8 with 5 Ks last night. The Red Sox aren't going to win at home. They're facing a lefty. They're going to win. Eduardo Rodriguez is going to get lit up in this game. Kyle Gibson's pitched well at times against the Red Sox in the past, so it doesn't even matter if I think JD Martinez is going to homer, if I think the Twins are going to win. And he's an ice-cold bat, so just fade.
James, are you going to make it 2 straight analysts who agree with Steven?
Yeah, I am. I'm not as high on the Twins to win this game as these guys are. I do think that they're in a bit of a better position, but Eduardo Rodriguez, even with his problems, has not been somebody that I think is really worth attacking. And the Red Sox, of course, up against Kyle Gibson, who, to Steve's point, he's been really, really good. And I actually have him as the lowest home run reliability on the slate with the lowest expected home run rate. So I don't think that JD Martinez is going to hit a home run. That doesn't necessarily mean that I wouldn't back the Red Sox here. That game went a really, really long time, and the Red Sox bullpen is slightly better than the Twins bullpen. So if we're looking at it that way, I think this game's going to be close. I think it's going to be low scoring between 2 pitchers that can have some success against any team. So I'm going to fade it, but I think that the Red Sox can win.
Guys, the Diamondbacks are favored against the Rockies at home with Zach Greinke facing John Gray, but you can get plus odds on Arizona if you parlay the money line and the over, which is plus 205. So Julian, Chaser fade the Diamondbacks, get the win at home, and score enough to hit the 8.5 run game total.
Well, parlays are for suckers and Steve Buchanan, so I want nothing to do with this parlay. I don't want to get the run total involved here. However, the Arizona Diamondbacks are one of my favorite bets of the day. They were at minus 143 when I wrote up my best bets article on the DK playbook. I'm not sure if that's shifted a little bit, but Zach Greinke is just in such a groove. A 2.65 ERA on the season. It improves at home where he's gone undefeated on the year. He's 3-0 the Diamondbacks have won all 3 games that he's pitched in the month of June, including back-to-back shutouts. Greinke hasn't allowed an earned run in over 13 innings. And the Rockies, obviously, their offensive numbers are inflated because of Coors Field. You get them on the road, they struggle to average 4.5 runs per game. So I love this spot for the Diamondbacks, but I don't necessarily want to get involved with the total here, especially with Greinke and the D-backs bullpen pitching back-to-back shutouts.
James, where are you going on this one?
Yeah, I'm going to fade this as well. I think that both John Gray and Zach Greinke are good. I actually think that John Gray has pitched a little bit better than Zach Greinke. So I don't really love that the Diamondbacks are in this spot. You know, we know that Arizona now is kind of more of a pitcher's park in terms of home run rates and stuff like that, and that's where you really get John Gray. He doesn't give up a lot of exit velocity on things that are not fly balls. They're not on line drives, fly balls. So I think that this is a spot where John Gray can find a lot of success, and I actually think the Rockies are a little bit better odds to win this game than not. But regardless, I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, so I wouldn't take the over, and therefore I wouldn't chase.
Steve, apparently this is for you.
Yeah, I am a total sucker for parlays. That's nothing to be ashamed about. Like, if you're a little fat, is it a big deal you eat a lot of pizza? Everyone loves pizza. Who cares? I think this parlay is easily avoidable. I really, really like Greinke tonight. Gray's not in a bad spot here either. So I just don't see where the 9 runs is going to come for the over to hit on this year, unless we get into the bullpens early. And obviously that would be a good spot for the over here. But I think both starting pitchers are in a good spot tonight, so that would obviously negate the parlay, and you wouldn't end up winning there. So I think it's an easy one to avoid. I'm definitely not taking this one.
Guys, I don't know if you have the salaries pulled up. We do have a question on Facebook from Danielle McCaffrey. Who is the best low-priced outfielder tonight? Would anyone like to take a shot at that question?
I think Carlos Gonzalez actually has some decent value tonight. I think off the top of my head, he was 3,100. His matchup isn't terrible. I know the weather isn't great for that one either, but just off the top of my head, I remember that came to mind very quickly.
Yeah, and I can give you Jake Cave. I think Jake Cave is in a fantastic spot as a lefty against this lineup. So yeah, I'll take Jake Cave at 3,200.
Jules, you want to throw out a name real quick?
If we look at the Dodgers going against Drew Pomerantz, we're most likely going to have Kiki Hernandez at $3,200 leading off in an opposite hand matchup there, and then Chris Taylor as well should be in that top 5 at $3,300. So the Dodgers, who are projected for around 5 runs, they're at home against Drew Pomerantz, should have some cheap outfield options.
All right, good stuff, guys. Thank you. We'll get much more help from you on tonight's baseball slate coming up. We got a top sportsbook options ahead of tomorrow's NBA draft. That's what we're going to be talking after Jesse's fantastic conversation with Braves manager Brian Snitker.
Brendan Glasheen here, in with your DraftKings Fantasy Flash. Mike Conley is on the move to Utah. Per Shams Charania, the Grizzlies traded Conley to the Jazz Wednesday for Grayson Allen, Kyle Korver, and Jay Crowder, the 23rd pick in Thursday's draft, and a future first-round pick. Conley is on the books for considerable dollars for the next 2 seasons, so the Jazz are clearly all in to compete in the West. Add Conley to budding star Donovan Mitchell, plus Rudy Gobert and Joe Ingles. That's the Utah core. They'll be interesting, fighting for playoff positioning with the Warriors, Nuggets, Blazers, Rockets, Lakers, Thunder, Clippers, and Spurs. Could be very well missing some teams. And Memphis has cleared the way to put the franchise in the hands of projected number 2 overall pick John Morant. The Murray State product has already met with the Grizzlies this offseason. The other draft pick compensation bodes well for a solid Grizz future. Hooray! Everybody wins! Carry on, everybody.
The Sweat is back with a special guest. Braves manager Brian Snitker has joined the program. Brian, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
Now, things are going pretty well for the Braves. You've won 9 of your last 10 and are sitting atop the NL East. So what is working for your club right now?
What is what? What is working? Well, everything right now. We really are clicking offensively. It's just amazing how, to a man, guys are all kind of doing what we thought they were capable of, and they're all putting it together at the same time right now.
Well, big win Monday night against the Mets, which saw Mike Soroka improve to 8-1 on the season. How impressive has he been?
Very impressive. I mean, his mound presence, the maturity with which he pitches, stuff is just really good. But he's a kid that attacks the strike zone. It doesn't matter what the situation. He's always going after the hitters and keeps the ball on the ground, which has been really big for him.
You guys made a big move and added Dallas Keuchel to the roster last week. We're expecting to see him make his Braves debut on Friday against the Nats. What are you expecting from him right out of the gate?
Same thing we see out of Soroka. I think being a guy that is efficient, puts the ball on the ground. Dallas brings instant credibility to our club. He's a proven winner. He's a world champion, and we're really excited to get him in the mix here and get him in our rotation.
You've had solid production from a lot of your bats. A guy that stands out is Ronald Acuna Jr. He's following up a great rookie season and is on pace to eclipse all of his rookie marks. How quick has his development arc been?
It's been unbelievable for a guy that's come in at his age and experience level and just to do what he does. And he's just a very talented young man. Scary part is he's going to get better. I mean, he's not even a finished product yet. And so it's going to be fun to watch him develop as a major leaguer and the improvement that he's going to make, because it's just amazing what he's been able to accomplish so far.
Hard to believe that Freddie Freeman is in his 10th season with the Braves. He's obviously a big producer for your team, but talk about his role as a leader.
It's really emerging as a leader. I mean, Freddie's a go-to guy. I mean, he's keeps everybody accountable. The way he prepares the day in, day out, how he shows up to play. And he plays the game the right way, but he's just has really matured and become our club, our guy. I mean, he's the guy that I lean on. He's the guy I bounce things off of. And if a player has any problems, any questions, they know they feel free to go to Freddie.
Especially recently, Josh Donaldson has had a power resurgence. What has he added to this club since coming on as a free agent?
Well, I mean, again, there's another guy that's a former MVP, and we put him in the middle of our lineup after batting him second early, and then now he's batting fourth, and we know what a guy like that can do when they get hot, and they have the ability to carry a club, and he's been really swinging about well lately, and playing great third base too. I mean, that's the thing that really gets overlooked is how good a defensive third baseman this guy is.
Has there been like an X factor for your team's success this season?
I think I call it the it factor. I think just the makeup of this club is unbelievable, and the grit these guys have. They're never out of a game. They love to compete. They love to work. They really like each other. They feed off each other. They're I think to a man, they're each other's biggest fans, and it's just like I say, that it factor that this team has it, and there's just never any quit in them. It's a really great collection of baseball rats is what they are.
Well, you've held numerous roles in the Braves organization all the way back to your playing days starting in 1977. Do you count yourself lucky to have been with one organization this long in a business that is known for its turnover?
No, I don't think I'm lucky. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed to have been with the Braves and an outstanding organization for as long as I have. There's been I've had some great mentors in this organization, some guys that I've looked up to. I tell people I've been raised by Hall of Famers. So I've been very blessed to have been a part of this organization for 43 years.
Now, as manager of the Braves, how important is it to carry on the legacy of winning put in place by the legendary Bobby Cox?
Well, I think it's very important, and I preach that to the players, and we talk about that a lot, that, he and guys like John Schuerholz and Paul Snyder, Bill Lucas back in the day, they did, all these guys just worked very hard to create what we have here with the Atlanta Braves. So I feel an unbelievable responsibility to try and carry that on in the honor of those men.
Now, if you could describe Braves fans in one word, what would it be?
They're loyal. I mean, they're dedicated. You said one word, and I'll go on and on with a lot of different words. But they just, that Braves country is something else. I had no idea how great that the Braves country is and how loyal these fans are to our team.
Finally, as a National League manager, where do you fall on the DH? Do you like it?
No, I don't. I love the National League game. I think it's, you take a lot of the maneuvering and the gamesmanship and it's a tougher game. It's a tougher game to manage because there's a lot more things going on than when we play an American League schedule.
Brian Sinker, Braves manager, thanks for joining us here at DraftKings.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
How's it going? I'm Brendan Glasheen, and with your DraftKings Fantasy Flash. Come on, people. Did you really think Anthony Davis to the Lakers was that easy? Adrian Wojnarowski says LA is scrambling. The Lakers are scrambling to reshape the parameters of the AD trade with the Pelicans and create $32 million plus in cap space when the free agent moratorium ends on July 6th. Woj reporting with Bobby Marks, also of ESPN. LA's offering contracts of bottom-of-the-barrel players, no need to say their names, to additional teams. Lakers are also pursuing the purchase of second-round picks in Thursday's draft. Marks adds the Bra would need to waive his trade bonus of $4 million to make the money work. You get this stuff crossed off the list, mission accomplished. Lakers go from $23.8 million in cap room to $32.5 million in cap room. Like I said, easy, right? You're talking just LeBron James and Kyle Kuzma remaining from last year's roster. Anyone who has a clue about the NBA, though, knows that's just fine. That's okay. It's about the high-end talent. The Lakers are clearly trying to add a third star. Kemba, Kawhi, Kyrie, Butler, whoever, and make the Anthony Davis trade official on the same day. I'll tell you one more time. Circle the date, July 6th.
Okay, the NBA draft arrives tomorrow night. Pretty sure I know who is going off the board first and second while we're at it. But a DK Sportsbook look we're going to take right now at Thursday night's event. So here is DK Live's Gary and Thorne. We have RotoWire's Alex Barutha here, as well as senior columnist for the Shadow League. That's Mr. Connor Phillips on the left side of your screen.
All right, guys, real quick, though. The Grizzlies are reportedly trading Mike Conley to the Jazz for Grayson Allen, Kyle Korver, Jay Crowder, and 2 first-round picks. So, Karin, how much better did the Jazz just get?
The Jazz got really good because, now this puts Donovan Mitchell off the ball completely, which I think would be better for him. I think he had this sophomore slump just because the ball was in his hands a little bit more. And, he was on scouting reports this year. Teams were really locking in on him. He was forced to be the facilitator and a scorer, which they really need him to be. Now with, Mike Conley there, who's a vet, who's been there before with playoff experience, Donovan Mitchell can get back to just getting buckets, and that's what Utah needs him to do.
Okay, so what does this mean for Memphis, Garion?
What does this mean for Memphis? Well, I guess we're going to have Jaren Jackson be a high-volume player, but that was relatively expected, and maybe that still hasn't entirely come to pass, depending on if Jonas Valanciunas re-ups for 3-4 years back in Memphis. But again, I think we're going to see most of the direction Memphis as a franchise is going to go down Thursday night. Ja Morant is going to be a high-usage high minutes player for this team in his rookie season if he is indeed their second pick like we all believe he's going to be. So that's really probably where you're finding a lot of the value here. I mean, unless something crazy happens and DeLon Wright is suddenly thrust into this high usage triple-double mode he found himself in towards the end of last season, but it's going to be the Morant and Jackson show.
How dangerous is this backcourt of Conley and Donovan Mitchell going to be, Alex?
I mean, this is really dangerous. I mean, I've heard some people compare it to Dame and CJ. We've gotten some, I guess, rumblings out of Houston that the Chris Paul, James Harden backcourt might not be around for much longer. So this could turn into one of the best backcourts in the West. This is already a team that has won 50 games 2 out of the past 3 seasons. I think getting Conley, having him do pick and rolls with Rudy Gobert could take them to the next level.
Guys, the DK Sportsbook mock draft rankings based off the betting favorite for each individual pick. It looks like this. So Zion Williamson 1, Ja Morant 2, RJ Barrett 3, Darius Garland 4, and DeAndre Hunter 5. So Garion, I'll start with you here. Zion, of course, going first. Most expect Ja Morant to go to the Grizzlies, especially after that Conley trade today. Popular consensus, though, is that RJ Barrett is going to go 3 to the Knicks. Minus 560 to go 3rd overall, but plus 400 to go 4th here. So would you take a chance on him dropping to 4?
I mean, if there's a high variance organization in the league, it's obviously the New York Knicks. So,
right.
You can't condone betting that he's going to end up at 3. There's no value there. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't some value at saying he was going to fall down to 4. But we see this a lot across sports, these last-second workouts. We've heard a lot of teams, knowing that New Orleans kind of wants to get rid of the number 4 pick, possibly trying to move up and get Garland at number 4, and I think he's still going to be there. I know there's been a lot a lot said and a lot of shots taken at RJ Barrett, but I still think he's someone who's 6'9", can handle the ball, relatively good passer. Yeah, the shooting's not great, but you would hope that that's maybe one of the things that they can work on at the NBA level. You can't teach 6'9" ball vision with passing ability, and it's just too perfect that 538's Carmelo projection model spat out that RJ Barrett is Carmelo Anthony. What do the Knicks need more than the next Carmelo Anthony? So I think he's still going at 3.
I'm sure they'd love to erase their memory of that phase, that time in their franchise's history. Anywho, Alex, RJ Barrett plus 400 to drop to 4. I mean, just falling into the hands, I guess, of the Lakers. Do you take that bet?
I think the Knicks are going to take RJ Barrett. I mean, there's plenty of hype around Darius Garland. He's a good playmaker. He can shoot from the outside, but the Knicks, if they draft Barrett with number 3, they're a guy they can go to their fans and say, hey, this was the top recruit coming out of high school over Zion Williamson. And, Barrett has great upside, could be a top flight scorer. I mean, Gary mentioned, the comparisons to Carmelo Anthony, and we often, at this point, it's easy to forget how good Carmelo was for a long time there. Barrett has some edges in his game and needs to round out, but overall, I would be surprised if the Knicks didn't take the risk at number 3.
Karan, what are the chances in your eyes RJ Barrett drops the 4? I mean, the Knicks can't screw this up, can they?
I mean, he's not dropping the 4, and I expect the Knicks to take him at 3. Now, if he winds up staying there, that's when we bring in all these conspiracy theories and would they trade him or move him? Could we get like a Penny Hardaway, Chris Webber draft day swap, or like the Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson thing we had like a couple of years after that? But the thing about Barrett is this whole conversation around him has been very interesting to me. And as the resident Duke fan, if I can take a second to speak on him, one, he's not 6'9", he's about 6'6". 2, his passing ability is the worst thing about him. But the thing about Barrett is it's this guy has been a winner and he's a scorer. He does have some flaws to his game. And the Carmelo Anthony comparison is really, really intriguing to me, because people forget that the last time the Knicks were actually good and were a 2 seed in the East, they were led by Carmelo Anthony. But they just totally have 2 different games if you pay attention to them. But being for somebody who used to write for the New York media, I know how it works. And it went from being mad that they were getting him because they couldn't get Zion to now, we need to love him. But this guy was the number 1 recruit in that class for a reason. And I think he's going to be one of those players who's really, really good in college and is going to be even better in the NBA.
Alex, we got some interesting bets available. Over under for the number of freshmen drafted in the top 10 is set at 5.5. Do you like the over or the under here?
I'll take the over, but I don't think it's going to be by much either way. I think it will be just either 5 or 6. I can take the argument. I can see the argument for taking the under because so many people have said, hey, this is a 3-player draft. And after that, who knows? But I think there's a really strong chance at 6 freshmen here. You got Zion, RJ, and Garland. Those guys are locks. And then I think, where you're either going to win or lose your money here is Kobe White, Cam Reddish, and Jackson Hayes. So it's close to a toss-up, but my gut's telling me lean over.
Karan, what about you?
Oh, I'm going comfortably with the over on this one. You go down the list. The 3 Duke guys, you got Garland there. Throw in possibly a Kobe White or maybe a Nas Little slides up, and you got 6 right there. It was no mention of Ball or any of Kentucky guys. And I'm not a person that really puts any emphasis on mock drafts because I always like to go back and look at them after the draft and laugh about how dumb everybody's picks were. The 6 is just a complete lock when you look at this draft. Now, is it going to be a lot more than 6? No, but 6 I'm very comfortable with because this is not a real top-heavy draft. And then when you look at that next tier, you got some sophomores, you got some juniors, you sprinkle in 1 or 2 international guys. But majority of the bulk load of talent that we've seen over the last decade is you got to take a freshman, and the freshmen are available.
Gary, and where do you want to go on this?
Yeah, and I think it says a lot that this line's already moved this week. Initially in the DK Sportsbook, it was minus 167. Now it's minus 200. I still think it's a perfectly fine spot to bet it because I echo what these guys have said. It's going to be 6 freshmen. I don't think it's going to be 7, but we have a very, very clear idea of what the top 6 picks are going to be. 3 freshmen, 3 sophomores there. So you only need 3 freshmen in the final 4 picks. The only way this goes wrong is if Cam Reddish falls out of the top 10. And I just don't think there's 4 teams willing to look past his upside. The Wizards have been connected to Doumbia, and maybe that happens. But even if that is the case, you would need like one of the Gonzaga duo to slip inside the top 10. And I think it's more likely, as Karin said, that like Nas Little ends up at pick number 10 than one of those two guys. So I think this is a comfortable over for me.
Karin, the number of international players drafted in the top 10 is set at just 1/2 here. So all you need is 1 to hit the over. Do you see 0 international players going early?
No. Like, is there a way to count Rudy Hashimura and RJ Barrett as international guys, since technically they are and not going to play for Team USA? But yeah, like, this is the NBA draft, where every year there's going to be a GM and multiple GMs that pick some international guy we've never seen play or never heard of. And then Fran Fraschilla is going to pop up, because Fran Fraschilla is the only person that's ever seen him or knows how to pronounce their name. And he's going to rave about him. And then in 2 years, he's not going to be in the NBA, because that's just what NBA GMs love to do, pick an international guy that's going to wind up being a bust. So I'm definitely taking over on this.
Okay, Gary, and where are you going on this, bud?
Well, I just mentioned Doumbia. He's kind of the guy we're talking about here, I feel like. And again, highly connected to the Wizards at 9. I don't know if they're trying to like entice Masai Ujiri by getting him a nice international prospect who everyone in this draft, like when Fran Fraschilla pops up, he's going to be talking about how, Doumbia is the next Pascal Siakam. And this is a copycat league. Pascal Siakam's the flavor of the month, and there are going to be teams looking to try to find the next Pascal Siakam. This is the guy. I think he's enticing enough where someone takes him in the top 10.
Alice, you got to see one team taking a chance on an international player here in the top 10, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo Gary in here. With Doumbia, I think that's how you pronounce his name. But I think it's gonna be close either way. I mean, if he gets taken, in the top 10, my guess it would be 9 or 10. This is a potential project guy, possibly a draft and stash. He's just, he's not even 18 and a half years old yet, but he's got all the, athletic intangibles. He's 6'9", 6'11" wingspan, 230 pounds. It's just a matter of how well he can develop his game. So it wouldn't shock me if someone took him in the top 10, but we've also seen teams be hesitant still in this day and age with international players. I mean, Luka Doncic went 3rd. I mean, that to me, that's still ridiculous. So if I had to bet this, I would take the under, but he looks like a good prospect.
All right, guys, a different kind of slate-approved pick here. Who or what is your slate-approved pick? It doesn't have to actually be a pick. It could be that somebody gets traded. It could be a statement. So, Alex.
I am going to go with RJ Barrett going 3rd to the Knicks. I think I just really don't see it going any other way. Just his pedigree, his coming out of high school, how highly recruited he was, his upside, the whole thing.
Karin, your lock for the draft.
I think I'm going to go on a limb and say Cam Reddish at 4 to New Orleans as a shocker. However, I want him to drop to 8 in Atlanta, because I want to be, courtside and see him play. Also, I'll be at the Hawks facility tomorrow night, and I just want some sheer pandemonium that happens so that I can, run up on the GM with some difficult questions and see if he stutters and stammers his way through his answers.
Love that. Go live on Instagram for that. Garion.
I'm just going to say that 6 freshmen are taken in the top 10. I think we were all in agreement with that. It seems like one of the safer bets on the board to me.
All right, dudes. Appreciate it. Enjoy the draft tomorrow night. We've got baseball returning after a little preview of tonight's NHL award ceremony.
NHL season's over, so let's hand out some hardware. Wyman Kaufman, DK Sportsbook is offering an opportunity to bet on a few of the awards that'll be given out tonight. Not the Hart, not the Norris, but you can bet on the Jack Adams Award winner. And Barry Trotz of the Islanders, year 1 there with the Isles. Great year. He's the favorite, minus 139. Do you like him to win?
I like him as the favorite, and I think he's obviously has the best odds to take it home, but I'm looking at Craig Berube of the Blues. I think he's got the long odds, and he's not getting as much credit for taking the Blues from last and into the playoffs. So, yeah, I think there's value in that bet there. And nothing against Barry Trotz. What he did with the Islanders was great, but I think the Blues really, working with a rookie goaltender, you got to give it to Berube.
I'm glad that you brought him up. A perfect transition to Jordan Binnington, the Calder Trophy. He's not the favorite to win Rookie of the Year, despite how great he was, and I know went on to win the Cup, but this is a regular season award, and Elias Pettersson of the Canucks. Just tremendous. 28 goals. He's the favorite, minus 910. What do you think?
Yeah, it's another situation where Pettersson should probably be the favorite. He had a fantastic season for the Canucks. Wasn't much of a factor, though. The Canucks weren't very good. Binnington led the league in goals against average, had a .927 save percentage, 30 wins. I think he is widely why the Blues made the playoffs. So, yeah, I think he's getting the long odds. I like that, too.
Okay, so we've got the Blues winning the Cup. We got the Coach of the Year, the Rookie of the Year. Heck, maybe the Selke Trophy Award winner as Best Defensive Forward. Ryan O'Reilly, Conn Smythe winner, is the favorite to win this award. Patrice Bergeron, though, 8th straight year that he's a finalist, and on top of that, if he wins, that'll be number 5 for him, most in NHL history. Can he do it? Can Boston beat St. Louis?
I think he can. I don't know why Bergeron has the long odds here. He had 79 points. He didn't play a full season. Maybe that's his knock, but he was 9th in Corsi for percentage. Again, one of the premier two-way forwards in the NHL, four-time Selke winner. So yeah, I mean, if I'm getting long odds on a guy like that, I think the voters are looking at this as a lot more even than people are thinking. So yeah, I'm looking at a Bergeron with the long odds.
All right,
here.
our baseball panel is back, and if you weren't here at the top of the show or you just weren't paying attention, that's DK Live, Steve Buchanan, Julian Edlow, and James McCool, and they're here to talk some tears.
Okay, so tier 4, Steven has some tasty treats. Who are you going to snack on?
Yeah, I'm definitely snacking on Josh Bell here. I just absolutely love the Pirates tonight. I mean, Jordan Zimmerman has been so poor against lefties on the season so far. 384 WOBA, 5.85 xFIP. Bell hits so well against righties at PNC Park. I feel like this one is just a no-brainer here. You don't have to get all cute and all, dolled up for somebody else. Just take Bell. He's an easy guy to take.
Julian, who will you be feasting on in this tier?
I'm also going to be feasting on Josh Bell. Bukes and I agreed here on Bell. I think it was last night, right? And he hit a home run for us, 14 DK points. And that wasn't that in like tier 1, and now he's in tier 4.
Life,
seems
man.
like a really
it's
good
life.
matchup for him seems like a good matchup for him at home against Detroit. He has double-digit DK points in 3 of his last 4, 9 in the other game. The guy's on a roll. He would be much deeper in the MVP conversation if he wasn't playing in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to hit probably another home run.
James, it's time for you to gobble up someone in tier 4.
I'm going to go with a different kind of turkey. I'm going to go with Nelson Cruz here against Eduardo Rodriguez. I mean, we talked up the Twins like no one's business in the last segment, and now these guys want to jump ship and go on to Josh Bell instead of backing the slugger for the Twins.
Wow, guys.
I love Nelson Cruz. I love Nelson Cruz and everything he's doing. Since he came back from injury, he's got 57 plate appearances. He's got a 105.6x slugging percentage and a 605x WOBA in this hand in this split. He's hitting home runs at a 10.5% home run clip. So, yeah, I'll take him against somebody who we know is home run prone.
Weren't you kind of poo-pooing on the Twins in the last segment, saying you actually like the Red Sox better?
Yeah, that doesn't mean I don't think Nelson Cruz is going to hit a home run.
Okay, so you're a fraud. Okay.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Julian, we're on to tier 5. Who's it going to be?
I'm just going to keep stacking the Pirates here because Jordan Zimmerman stinks, and I'll go with Starling Marte. He hasn't been quite as hot as Josh Bell lately. However, he's hitting 282 on the season, 10 home runs, 34 RBI, and he missed some time in there as well. So this is just more of a play. I'm not wild about anybody else in the tier. So if I love Josh Bell, I'm just going to keep piling it on with Marte and go with a little bit of a mini Pirate stack here.
James, who's it going to be from tier 5?
I actually like Jordan Luplow here. He's somebody who's been kind of like under the radar for a pretty good amount of the DFS community, except for when he was down there in like the low 3K range and everybody was using him for like 3 days. But the Indians are kind of starting to turn a corner, and they are playing in a great hitting environment against a bad team and a bad starting pitcher. So with the Rangers bullpen being as bad as it is, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity here for Luplow to take advantage of not only a nice situation in terms of his handedness against a starting pitcher, but also against a bad bullpen in a great park.
Steven, who you taking?
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, it's not very often you're going to get a hitter with a 415 isolated power against lefties. He's in that good ballpark. You know, the Rangers are running out Palumbo tonight, who's actually their top pitching prospect. Remember, Julian said earlier that he stinks, and, you know, obviously just didn't do any research on him. But I have absolutely no issue. Calm down. I have absolutely no issue taking him here in this spot. Like I said, the isolated power is just way too large, and then a good sample size, too, as well. Good ballpark, bad bullpen going up against him. Definitely like that spot.
All right, guys, hang tight for Steve's favorite segment, which is named after him. Put up your bukes. We got golf talk coming up, but right now Pat Mayo's got some top tight ends you need to keep an eye on for the 2019 season.
You can rank Jared Cook. I will rank him in worst place because I hate Jared Cook. Not
I
drafting
hate him
Jared
too,
Cook.
but I rank him.
No one else should do it. But he's a part of this tier of names that I kind of came up with. So
Did you not see my tweet? Somebody asked me, what's the floor of Jared Cook? And I said, the pit of hell. I'm with you.
I feel like, man, like you feel like I'm on. Maybe it seems like I'm omnipresent on Twitter. I'm not on it quite as much as you may think.
I know you schedule like 7,000 tweets a day.
I spend a good like half hour to 45 minutes a day scheduling some tweets so I don't have to check in every 10 minutes.
See, that's how I work. I write, stop after about 15, 20 minutes, look at Twitter, maybe watch a game that's on TV. That's my flow. That's my work process.
Yeah. See, I feel like I would get no work done if I actually did that. So the names that I'm throwing out for tier 3 at tight end: Jared Cook, Vance McDonald, David Njoku, OJ Howard, Hunter Henry, Eric Ebron, and Evan Ingram and Jack Doyle. Those are the names I'm throwing into the pot. So immediately, who do we take out of that?
All of them except for 3.
Okay.
Jared Cook's gone. There's no question about that.
Get out of here, Jared Cook. Beat it.
He is in my top. He is in my top 10, but he's going to be the most overdrafted tight end. Like, everybody's going to picture. Speaking of Graham from before, everybody's going to be picturing those days and forgetting. Hey, Drew Brees passes less these days. Drew Brees has always spread the ball around, giving Josh Hill and Humana random touchdowns for the tight ends. And now Taysom Hill's getting involved. So yes, you're going to enjoy the roller coaster of Jared Cook, where it was predicting 4 good weeks. Maybe at least here's the good news, Pat. It's going to be 6 or 7 good weeks instead of only 4. But
as I always say with these types of players, do not draft them in your season-long fantasy league. Just play them every week in a GPP on DraftKings because they will win you 2 weeks for sure.
There you go. 100%. So Eric Ebron's out too. I don't think people are recognizing enough what Jack Doyle, and then you have the Paris Campbell, Devin Funchess. I still have Eric Ebron also inside the top 10, but he's very touchdown based. So the 3 for me, it's the only 3, and these are the ones that I'm targeting in a lot of my drafts, and why I'm not taking those big 3 is OJ Howard, Hunter Henry, and Evan Ingram. Because if you look at the numbers with Evan Ingram, with and without Odell Beckham, they're stark. They're almost double without him.
But I do have a counter to that, though. That is saying that we take Odell Beckham out of the situation, and now we have no one to replace him. They have brought in Golden Tate to be a bigger member than anyone else, more than your like Lewis's or Kings or any of those guys were for the Giants in the absence of Odell Beckham. So you still have Shepard, you have Tate, and now you have Evan Ingram. So I'm kind of dicey on this. He would be last of those 3 guys that you just mentioned for me.
So Evan Ingram's barely first. They're all right there for me. He's barely first. And no, you are 100% right. It's not like they're just taking him off the field and not doing it, but it is only Golden Tate this year. It is Golden Tate past 30 years old. It's Golden Tate who is not Odell Beckham. Golden Tate needs to be in the slot, and Sterling Shepard's going to be outside. Like, I'm fine still with Evan Ingram looking at the fact that with and without Odell Beckham and saying the base here is the target share and the opportunity is going up. With Beckham gone, whether or not you bring in Tate, whether or not you traded for Larry Fitzgerald or somebody like it, nobody's Odell Beckham for this offense, demanding that kind of attention, taking up that many big plays, that many touchdowns.
All right, it is time to talk golf with our 2 gorgeous golf gurus. It's just a dude and his bro. Reed and Jeff, how are you guys doing? Great. We're here to talk PGA pin placement. This is where you predict where some of the following gentlemen we discuss will finish in the Travelers Championship.
First up is going to be Jordan Spieth. Reed, where does he finish?
Yeah, I'd like to commend Mr. Ulrich for sticking by his word that whiteboard looks glorious. I appreciate that.
I have not seen it. What is on there?
Yeah, it's just his favorite analysis.
Oh, that's right. And this is because you guys lost a bet last week for all of our new viewers.
Yeah, exactly. Going on to Jordan Spieth, a guy that's probably just as good as Jeff when it comes to fantasy analysis for golf. I actually think he's going to be pretty good this week. I got him inside the top 20, just around 17th or 18th place. Look, we all know what Jordan Spieth does, how he gets around the golf course, how he does well. It's short game, his putting. He's number 1, right, in short game putting over the last 24 rounds. What I do like about Jordan Spieth this week over other weeks, especially last week, is the par 4 scoring from that distance of 400 to 450 yards. He's top 10 in there. And birdies are better gain over the last 24 rounds in that same time frame. He's top 3. So he's able to make these birdies. It's those big numbers that he can't stay away from. Travelers, strong field. I still have him around 20th place. So I think he makes the cut. He does well.
Jeff, Jordan Spieth.
Okay, I've stayed quiet long enough. I've let Reed have his victory lap, whatever. Thanks, Bryson DeChambeau. I wanted to kind of get on the Jordan Spieth train here because I really think he'll be fairly low owned for GPPs. I just can't. I mean, this is going to be a 6th event in 7 weeks, so there's got to be a little bit of fatigue setting in here too. I know the Travelers is kind of a Jordan Spieth course. He was pretty terrible last week, though. Like, let's just admit it. I think we saw some scenes there, like him yelling at his caddy for giving him the wrong yardage. Yeah. He's terrible putting on the weekend, like losing strokes with that club again. That's not a good scene for Jordan Spieth. So personally, like, he's at his really high salary too. For I don't know why he's more than Justin Thomas this week, but I'm going to put him in at T45. He probably makes a cut because it's a good course for him, but I just don't like it.
I will say this really quickly. 2017, he did have one of the best golf celebrations, and we've all known and we've seen guys when they try to celebrate, golfers try to celebrate, they're terrible. He and Mike Griller actually had a pretty good one in 2017 when they did the chest bump.
I will.
Now they just yell at each other.
Yeah, I'll YouTube that. I'll make sure to check it out. Jeff, my little GI bro, how about Francesco Molinari?
Yeah, Molinari's a bit of a similar story. I mean, he's cooled off a bit since his big run at the Masters. I mean, the putting isn't there. He had a fantastic week around the greens at Pebble. That's pretty much the only thing that separates him from Jordan Spieth, or separated him from Jordan Spieth. That's kind of why he finished higher than Spieth, because he was scrambling like a maniac. He wasn't his normal Molinari self, just hitting green after green. He was a little bit wild with the ball striking at times. Not that great with the putter. Molinari's been the type of character. He's almost like Minnie Brooks. He's been really good at some of the majors, and he's been really hit or miss at the other PGA events. Again, I just don't really want to pay over $10,000 for Molinari in fantasy this week. I think he's going to be kind of similar to Spieth. I'll give him a little bit more credit because he's been a bit sharper, but I'm going to say T25 because that's kind of what his average finish has been in the non-majors this year, outside of one win.
What about you, Brotato Chip? Little sleepy T16 U.S. Open showing here.
Yeah, I do like Francesco because he let me take this victory over Jeff this week. But like, I'm way more down and pessimistic about him this week. If you look, I got him for miscut. Actually, if you look at what happened after the PGA Championship, if you look at what happened after the Masters, this guy missed the cut in both tournaments after. And so, if there is a quantifiable stat out there for fatigue, this is the week that we might see it, right? The cross-country travel, the different time zones, right? The U.S. Open, especially if you're in contention, like Francesco was on Friday, Saturday, he was right there. I think that doesn't bode well for a guy like him that, like Jeff was mentioning, he still doesn't pick it up, right, in these smaller, quote-unquote, tournaments. If you want to be optimistic about it, like Jeff mentioned, like a GPP play with him would be nice. Him and Spieth at that price range, a lot of people are going to think the same thing, that they're going to just not worth it, right? And they're going to be lower owned. Those are the only two guys that I get projected under 10%. But I got him optimistically. I'll give him where Jeff has Spieth at 45th, but I think he misses the cut this week.
Reed, what about your boy, Tony Finau?
Oh, God, my boy. He 2 missed cuts in a row for my boy, Tony Finau. But we see bombers at this short course do well. We saw Bubba, obviously a guy who hits bombs, like another guy who hits bombs. Phil Mickelson won this back-to-back. Early 2000s. So I get Tony Finau for a top 25. If you look at strokes gained total since 2014, he's top 10 in that category. He didn't play last year, but he got 2 top 25s and a top 20 in those 3 years previous. We know what he can do with ball striking, so I think he gets a top 25.
Jeff?
Yeah, I kind of like the same range for Finau. You look at the last 2 courses. I mean, he's just a bit too much of a sprayer for Pebble Beach, I think, and I know he can club down, but even when he clubs down, Finau's not that accurate. But the Travelers are pretty easy to hit fairways. People forget, like, he was runner-up at Colonial. He played really well 4 weeks ago, whatever it was. It's kind of weird that he's missed 2 cuts right after. I wouldn't be shocked if he bounces back. I'd even go a little bit higher. I think he's set for like a top 15, so I'll give him a T10 for this week.
There we go, Ulrich.
Slate approved pick time. Who was your lock for the Travelers? Reed, my little bro, Jay Simpson.
I got Charlie Hoffman, 8,100. This guy is top 4, top 5 in strokes gained total at this course. He loves it. Good price. Charlie Hoffman.
Shaquille O'Neal, what about you?
Well, Brosina, I got Justin Thomas for a big bounce back this week. 9,800, just getting disrespected. Less than Spieth, like 2,000 less than Cantlay. Give me a break. Justin Thomas top 3 this week, maybe wins.
Guys, it was good to have you here. Have a great night. Enjoy the Travelers the next 4 days, okay?
I will.
You too, bud.
Thank you so much, guys. Okay, so we're going to have Steve putting up his bukes coming up. But first, the Panel B podcast reviewing
one of Steve's
Put
picks.
up your bukes from last night. Things get heated. Please watch this.
Braves get Steven Matz tonight on the road, which is always a good thing.
He hasn't been bad.
He hasn't been bad at home.
Mm-hmm.
He's been bad on the road. When you look at his home road splits, it's quite a large difference there. And, the Braves got shut down last night by DeGrom, pretty much expected. DeGrom's been pitching out of his mind once again. But Matt's on the road.
It wasn't expected in the put up your Bucks section when you gave us, who was it, Ozzy Albies?
Yeah, I gave it to him.
Batting 8th for 4,500
I don't care.
or whatever.
Again, I took
Goose
him.
egg.
Goose egg. I don't care.
Sorry, go on.
It was a good leverage play because he was at 2% ownership. If he did anything, I was sitting pretty.
But
That's
he
how
did
you
nothing.
I'm having flashes of that.
Okay, but sometimes that happens, Julian. Like I don't
Not to
predict
me.
the future. I don't predict the future. I just hope that Albies goes out there, has a decent game, and I'll get him at 2% ownership. Why can't you do things like that? If we did a hidden jewel segment, are you going to make a good call like that, or are you going to make all these coward calls? Coward calls. Right. See, exactly. You have nothing to say. Anyways,
The hidden
Steven Matz
jewels
tonight-
are supposed to be people that nobody's looking for.
Yeah, and the put up your bukes is something that people look at like, oh, maybe, I wasn't considering it. Maybe that could end up being a good play today. See, if you knew what the segment is about, you'd
Everybody
understand.
was considering the other two plays in your segment, but maybe not everybody watched that, so we'll move on.
Now everybody watches. It's the highest rated segment on the show. That's why the sweat is what it is today.
All right, guys, we're back. Steve Buchanan is in
here.
a 3-box with us. Steve, would you like to react to how you were accosted inside this same exact studio moments ago?
Yeah, I just had to let my feelings be known. Julian, as usual, had some dumb take. He was trying to blast me for a pick that I made that didn't work out. Look, I don't predict the future here. I'm just here to give you people some knowledge, and then if that pick went off, you would have won a lot of money.
Julian, I feel like Julian.
It's a great thing we're doing. It's a great thing we're doing. Put up your Bucks again because Steve just gave us a guy that threw up a goose egg last night. Let's talk about some more guys that are going to score 0 DraftKings points tonight.
Okay. Well, the other handsome gentleman on your screen, that was James McCool. And so now we're doing Put Up Your Bukes once again. Again, these are Steve's top 3 predictions of the night with some point projections in there. Steve, we're starting off fresh, square one. Who was your first buke tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that with Andrew Heaney for 24 DK fantasy points. Let's just look at this Blue Jays lineup, okay? We have 5 hitters with a K percentage of at least 25% against lefties, 4 players with an isolated power of 158 or below, 4 players with a WOBA less than 303. This feels like a huge spot for Heaney tonight. This Blue Jays club is flat out bad against lefties. I don't know how else to say it without, people censoring me and bleeping me in the back. This is just not a good spot for the Blue Jays against a lefty tonight. I love Heaney. He's one of my favorite pitchers on the night.
All right, Julian, I'm going to let you go first here. What do you think about the 24 fantasy point projection here?
Here comes big bad Bucks giving me a pitcher that's $8,500 and it's $8,500. Yes, telling me why he's gonna really put up a big night against the 27th ranked offense in baseball that scores 3.6 runs per game. Andrew Heaney's in a really good spot. He's probably gonna be like 30% owned in cash tonight because everybody knows he's in a really good spot. He's only pitched 4 games this season, so I guess we don't know exactly what he is right now. He averages 18.4 DK points. Maybe 24 is a little too lofty, I guess, but he's definitely going to get 20 plus. He's already hit the 20 plus in 2 of his 4 starts. He's gone over 24 in 1 of them. And since we don't have many numbers on Heaney this season, we can look back to last year when he pitched 7 innings against the Blue Jays, allowing just 1 run. And this offense looks worse this season. So, yeah, I can't really argue. I think this is going to be a popular play tonight.
All right, James. Julian seems to think that this Bukes is just kind of a waste of his time. What do you think?
Yeah, no, look, 24 points is a lot, and I understand that Heaney has the strikeout upside. He's got a 12.46 K per 9 right now. He's playing around in the zone. He's gotten up to a 2-strike count over 75% of the time. He looks really good. The issue is that he also looks like he's going to give up a lot of home runs in a lot of his starts. He's got a 2.55 home run per 9, and I have him at over a 2.0 X home run per 9. Like, the guy is going to give up a lot of hard contact. He's going to give up a lot of fly balls. And something that the Blue Jays can do is get really hot throughout the entire lineup against random pitchers. We've seen it happen before. It never happens when they're chalk. They only score 0.0 points when they're chalk. But tonight, up against a chalk pitcher, I think they have an opportunity to get to it. I think that somebody like Vlad Jr., Lourdes Gurriel Jr., these guys, like, they're going to get to him. They're going to put something in play, and they're going to put something over the heads of the outfielders. I think that he's going to get knocked out early.
All right, Steven, another Buke for us, please.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Colin Moran for 16 DK fantasy points. I mean, I was mentioning it earlier. I absolutely love this spot for the Pirates tonight. I mean, Zimmerman's coming back for the first time in just over 2 months. Wasn't pitching well to begin with. I mentioned earlier in the show, 384 WOBA, 5.85 xFIP against lefties. You know, some of you people out there might be like, oh, boo, it's not a big sample size. Fine, we'll go back to last season. 342 WOBA against lefties and 4.42 xFIP. 15 of his 28 home runs allowed. And then Moran, at what he's doing at home against righties at PNC Park, 393 WOBA, 273 isolated power, just absolutely mashing in this spot. So I love Moran tonight for 16.
James, Moran for 16 DK fantasy points. What do you think?
Yeah, this is just Bucks putting up another guy who's like, oh, he's definitely going to hit a home run in PNC Park. Like, come on, this is the lowest home run expectancy park in the league, and I don't really think that Jordan Zimmerman has been somebody who's been that bad. I mean, he's been below average, and he will continue to be below average, but you're taking somebody like Colin Moran, who in 2019, it is a small sample size. It is a situation where we don't really know who he's going to be. As much as I like him in DFS, I don't think that it's fair to say that he's going to get 16 fantasy points. I think it's fair to say he might get 6, but 16 is just, it's overboard.
Can you only get 16 DK fantasy points with home runs? You can't do anything else?
Yeah, only a 2-run shot. That's all we need to serve.
All right, got it. Put that in my notes.
Put it in your notes, Steve.
Go ahead, Julian. What dumb thing you have to say?
I don't know. I just kind of stopped doing research after Andrew Heaney because this segment isn't very good. But Colin Moran, I guess Bucks just gives us kind of like half of a cash game lineup every time we do put up your bucks. This is a guy that's $3,700 in an opposite hand matchup against a bad pitcher hitting 5th at home. So, like, yeah, he's a solid play. Is he going to get 16 DK points? Probably not, because Colin Moran's not that good. And as McCool mentioned, this isn't a park where we expect the ball to fly out. And if you're going to get 16 DK points, most likely it's going to come from a home run, unless he has a very productive night going 3 for 5 or 4 for 5 or whatever, swipes a bag. Colin Moran, would I play him in cash and hope for 8 or 10 DK points? Sure. Am I going to reach on 16? No.
All right, you're projecting 14 DK fantasy points for your third Buke. Please tell me who it is, and let's see what Julian and James think of it.
Yeah, let's see what these dummies have to say about this one. This is Tyler Flowers for 14 DK fantasy points. You have to love this spot for the Braves against Steven Matz. I mean, Matz is not the same guy at Citi Field that he is on the road. I mean, Flowers has been the guy to target against lefties. Oddly enough, he's actually not hitting lefties well at home, but he's been absolutely crushing them on the road. It feels like it should be a little bit of a reverse there. But I feel like something has to give here at this point. Matz on the road against righties, 384 WOBA, 4.66 xFIP with 9 of his 13 home runs allowed. I feel like Flowers is one of those forgotten guys in the Braves lineup when you're stacking them because he's lower in the order here. So you want to kind of mix up your stack here. I think Flowers is a really excellent way to do so. It was a cash play, you idiots.
Okay. James, you want to go first?
Well, first off, this isn't a cash play because I'm not spending $3,900 on a catcher that has a platoon split with his backup. And second off, I think Steven Matz is way better than that, man. I mean, you can talk about his home road splits, but it's not like we're talking about somebody who pitches half his games in cores. It's somebody who plays in 2 parks that are mostly discernible in terms of offense. The Braves park has been good in years past, but this year it's actually only a .91 for home runs. So it's actually below average in terms of offense. Tyler Flowers is somebody who, sure, we can use him in these spots, but I think that Steven Matz deserves a little bit more respect. He's got a high strikeout rate, and the Braves strike out quite a bit. They've got a huge slugging percentage, but it's a situation where if he doesn't hit a home run, he's not going to get a hit at all. So I'd much rather go in there and take his plus 700s prop or whatever to get a home run, and I would still fade that, so I'm going to fade this.
Okay, Jules, please just go ahead and tell me why you're fading it.
Yeah, I don't want to pay this much for a guy that's hitting this late in the order, even if it's a catcher. Has he been hot lately? Yes, 23 DK points in his last game. He scored 11 or more in 3 of his last 4. So that's why he's in put up your bucks here, because he's been hitting well lately. but we don't want to take somebody this late in the lineup, this expensive. And if he gets the production, I think it's going to come off the Mets bullpen, not necessarily off of Matz, who is starting the game. But yeah, I'm not paying this much for this for somebody hitting this late in the order. And we saw how this worked out last night with who was it? Ozzie Albies, somebody that Buchanan wanted to pay way too much for late in the Braves order. You got a goose egg. I'm not falling for this twice.
All right, guys, we got 30 seconds. Julian, slate approved picks, 30 seconds. Make it quick.
Lucas Giolito, the guy is dominating.
Steve.
Brave stack.
James.
Shinsto Chu.
Dumb.
Hey, Steve, cheer up, buddy. Hang in there, guys.
All right, guys, this is the
You say
Sweat.
goodbye. I'm done.
We'll be back
I'm out.
Friday, not tomorrow, 6 p.m.
Wow.